Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 288. And it was interesting couple of days, man. First things first, I saw two of my best friends get married, and it was cool to see, you know. And I was like, man, to watch people say their vows and after such a long time of being together, like they were together since like I think college, and so you figure it's like you know they got a couple kids and everything, so it's like they've been together for like 17 years, and it's like it's wild because it's like to watch somebody grow and mature and become you know a better version of themselves, and it's just beautiful to see, man. And I also want to talk about being intentional with what you're doing. I've had people tell me X, Y, and Z, like, oh, well, I need you to be intentional, yada, 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 whoop de whoop. And it's like, in reality, all I hear is, I want you to spend money on me. And it's true because it's like, at the end of the day, most of the, most of the people who are dating nowadays, they're not dating just to get to know the person. They're dating because, like, they want you to spend money on them. They want you to do X, Y, and Z. Um, and yeah. And that's the most interesting part, man, because it's like people will say, "Oh, I need intentional. I need this. I need that." And the reality is like you can get that from all the right people. The problem is that you don't want that from the right people. You know, you don't want that from the good dude who does X, Y, and Z for you. You don't want that for the good dude that shows up whenever you need something. And it's sad, man. It's unfortunate because it's like you end up pushing away the people that are actually good for you. You know, pushing away the people that actually want you to be better, want you to be something, right? And I personally think when I hear intentional dating, I need this, I need it, because I've been told that, and this is after me going out with a person, spending quality time, doing X, Y, and Z, and this is after the person telling me like I really enjoy spending time with you, yada yada yada, and then like they say shit like this, and I'm like, okay, what have we been doing the last, however how many dates we've been on? How is that not intentional? Like I'm making time to, I'm making time to spend with you. I'm spending time with you. I'm clearing my schedule. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Like how is that not intentional? You know. And when you deal with people like that, it just makes you, it turns you off a bit because you're like, okay, like yo, like what am I doing this for? You know, like why am I doing this? And I think that's the most craziest thing because you know people will sit there and say, "Oh, I want this, I want that." Okay, I'm giving it to you. What more do you need? And I've always thought that was weird. That was strange because it's like you can't complain when you're getting the things you want. You know, you say you enjoy spending time with somebody, but yet you want intentional dating. I'm like, intentional to me is like somebody clearing your schedule. Like it doesn't have to be spur of the moment type of shit. It could be like, you know, take for instance, I took a girl out to Barnes and Nobles simply because she loves to read books. You know. Then after that, we went to this. A few weeks later, we went to this. We went to this outing, and the outing happened to happen. There happened to be a bookstore down the street, so we went to check that out. And it's like you know, and it was an independent bookstore too, so it was different. You know what I mean? So, and like they had some stuff that was really interesting, and it's like at the end of the day, I don't force things. I don't chase people. My ex can tell you that. She's like, no, Mikey's not the one that's gonna chase anybody. If anything, you're gonna end up chasing him. Like, if anything, you're gonna end up, you know, like, you know, calling and texting him. You know what I mean? Because like he's not. After a while, he's not gonna go out of his way to make you feel important, and I'm not. You know, I'm gonna stop texting. I'm gonna stop calling. It's like just recently too. Yesterday, I sent a bunch of wedding photos and a few videos, you know, to a few people, and majority of people responded. Some didn't for whatever reason, which is cool. But the main person I sent it to, and like that individual didn't respond, and I'm like, oh, okay, you want intentional. You want X, Y, and Z, you know? It's like, I'm giving you updates of my day, what's going on, and like, you can't text back, you can't call back. And okay, cool. You know, it's really not cool, but I see where you at, you know? And I'm gonna leave you alone because like, there's no point. Why sit there and get involved with somebody that just doesn't want the same thing you want? And a lot of people may sit there and call me an asshole, but it's just truth, man. It's like, why would you sit there and waste your time with somebody who doesn't want the same thing you want? You know, you're gonna sit there and make space, make time for somebody who doesn't want it. You know, and it's different than being in a relationship. That's 100% different. And being in a relationship and dating somebody is completely different things, because it's like when you're dating somebody, it's like, of course you want to, you know, you want to spend money, you want to spend time, you want to be X, Y, and Z, but at the same time, it shouldn't be something extravagant. It's like I hop on threads all the time, and like the advice that guys are giving other guys about what to do, and I'm like, me personally, I think like flowers in a card on the first date is a little bit too much, depending on the context. You know, it's like if you already know this person and like y'all had a rapport and everything, and like then you ask them out, or she asked you out, whatever. Okay, cool. You know, that's one thing. But like nowadays people meet off dating apps, right? So it's like if you're meeting off a dating app, whatever, like a simple coffee, maybe going to Starbucks, whatever it is, like that suffices. You know, and I think that's the most. I think that's important to realize that not everybody wants to create something with you. Like they say that, but in reality, it's like I think a lot of women nowadays, and this is just my personal experience, because it's like they care about more what you can do for them financially. You know, they think that they have options, and in reality, they don't have any options. In reality, like the dudes you dealing with is because of who you are, what you attract. You know, I'm not saying that people are bad people, because I don't think people are bad people, but at the same time, it's like you can't sit there and be like, oh yeah, X, Y, and Z, whoop de whoop de whoop. No, it's like at the end of the day, it's like men who care about you will give you exactly what you want. You know, like if you want quality time, you know, acts of service, gifts, whatever it is. It's like, and the one thing about me is like, it's crazy when dudes will leave with their wallet and then complain that all the women that they date are just after their money. I'm like, what you expect, bro? You know, it's like going to the strip club, getting the stripper's number, and she's trying to get you to spend extra money on her, and then like you come to find out that she blocked you. It's like, bro, she took herself out. It's cool. You know, it's like there's no point to sit there and like bitch and moan about it. And it's like I remember once. This is years ago. Probably shit. I was like 21, 22, maybe 23. What? No, I was 24. So we was at this club. It's no longer around. That's how long ago this place was. So, and I remember there was a couple of buddies, a friend of mine who were in town, and I remember these guys had no style whatsoever, and they wore these tacky Aloha t-shirts to the nightclub, and I'm like, bro, you're not gonna like that's not gonna work. You know, you're gonna get laughed at. And I can't remember the dude's name, but he he thought it was a bright idea to go up to this one girl and a group of friends, and like it was like 5 or 6 of them, and I'm like, bro, like there's like 4 or 5 of us. So like somebody's gonna have to keep these 2 girls entertained while you shoot your shot, and so he bombs out because he's like, fuck it, man, I'm gonna go up there and talk to him. I was like, bro, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. So this girl, he bombs out with this girl. He goes off to a friend who was right next to her. And I remember this as clear as day. She mushes him in the face. And the whole entire time, we're standing like 10 feet away watching all this shit. And so we're standing over there watching this. I'm like he just crashing and burning. And I'm like, so I go over that. I grab him. I tell the girls, like, look, my bad. He's an idiot. You know, like I don't claim him. He's a friend of a friend. You know, because they were like, yo, like, aren't you gonna come grab your friend? And I'm like, oh fuck. So I went over there, you know, grabbed the dude, and I told the girls, like, I don't know what he told you. I just met this dude tonight. I don't know what his problem is. What is, you know, like I don't know what type of energy he's on, but like I'm sorry for him being a weirdo, because I am. I legitimately am. And so, and then like I remember later on that night, like we all get back to my friend's house, so we talking and everything, and I told bro, and he kept bitching about the girls, and everybody's like, bro, we seen what you did. He's like you went after every single girl in that group after every single one of them girls prior to the other girl you're trying to talk to shot you down. It got to the point where the girl mushed you in your face. It's like, you know how irritating and annoying you have to be for a woman, for just a person to do that. Like, and the fucked up thing about it is like they kept telling him to go away. You know, they're like, "Yo, okay, we're cool, whatever, go away." You know, it's like, and like he wasn't listening until, and then when he got mushed in the face, we're like, and that's when we went, cause we're like, why is he going there talking to every single girl? I thought he wanted to talk to this one particular girl, and that's what we found out later on when I went to go grab him. The girl was like, "Yo," it was like, you know, I was like, "Come get your dude," you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, and but there is some shit like that. I'm not, like I said, that I'll never forget, and it's like, bro, really? You know? And it's like, okay. And to me, that's just interesting because it's like, I don't understand how you can do all that, say all that, and it's like, okay, for what? You know? And like, I think for a couple of days he was complaining about it too, and it got to the point where all of us were like, dude, like the issue is you. And even the girls at the time too, like even like, you know, because some of my friends had girlfriends, and so like they all went out with us, and even the girls were like, "What are you talking about?" It's like what they're saying is right because what you did was weird. They're like, if I didn't know you, you know, like how I know you, I would have probably done the same thing. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, you can't go around there saying like doing that stupid shit and expect people not to feel a certain way about it. I don't care where you're at, you know. That's your universal. Like when people say leave me alone, you do that, bro. You don't go off and try to convince them that you're different or whatever it is, because that's just weird, you know. Like why would you need to do that? And I've always thought that was strange because it's like here you are doing X, Y, and Z, and it's like, But to get back to being intentional is great. Being intentional it's definitely something a lot of people need to do. Oh, excuse me. Ooh. And I think that's the most important thing too, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm intentional. I'm this. I'm that." But it's like in reality, it's like, "Oh, I need X, Y, and Z." Like, no, you don't. What you need to do is get out your own way. You know, it's like I've had women tell me, "Oh, I need real dates." You know, you know, getting to know each other, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, okay, like, but we've been going out for a month. Like, what do you think we've been doing? We've been talking pretty much every day. You know, and then ironically, I was supposed to go buy some concert tickets. I ended up not even buying the concert tickets because it's like the girl was, just pretty much just blowing me off, and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, absolutely not. And it's like, I'm not gonna chase you. I'm not gonna do X, Y, and Z because to me it's pointless. And so I remember, I don't know why I did it, but after I got home yesterday, so I called my ex. Mind you, I've been spoken to this girl. Oh, I haven't called her since like November, December. And last time I ran into her at the gym, and so we ended up talking for a bit, in person, and she's horrible at math, right? And then she's like, well, like I haven't talked to you for a year, or I haven't called you in a year. And I'm like, it's been 6 months, you know. Like we may have broken up over a year or close to it, but yeah, and I was like, no. And like I said, she's horrible at math, right? So we ended up having this conversation, and it's long, bro. It's a couple hours long. And the um one thing I've been doing a lot recently is like I try not to talk that much, you know. I try to listen, and I try to comprehend, try to understand. And I remember she was getting ready for bed, and then she was she was telling me like, oh well, like you listen to me talk X, Y, and Z, like now is your time to talk. Look, what you want to talk about? And so she's all brushing her teeth, whatever, and I really didn't have anything to say, so I just was quiet, you know. So she comes back like 2, 3 minutes later. And she's like, "Did you really not talk to me the entire time?" I was like, "Man, I didn't really have anything to say." I'm like, and she's like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, like, I told her like when I don't have anything to say, I'm quiet." And she looked at me. She's like, "Okay." She's like, "Something's different about this dude." You know what I mean? Because when we were together, um, I used to talk to her all the time. You know, all the time, every day, obviously, because you're in a relationship with that person. And it was interesting because I asked her a question. I asked her like, "Oh, like you remember when I told like I told her, you remember when we first started talking, and you said like, I want you to be that person that you call for anything, whether your day is good or bad. I want to be that first person ever, the first person that you call for whatever it is." and and then I asked like, "Well, is the energy still the same?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Yeah." You know, she's like, "Yeah, I want you to call me." But she's like, like, and then she said something like, but, you know, like, yeah, the energy is still the same for the most part, but no, like it's different around these parts. And I was like, okay, yeah, you know, but I could tell that, you know, there's always gonna be a soft spot for me, no matter what it is, right? You know, because we didn't end bad. We know like we just ended awkward. You know, like we ended up just falling out over some dumb shit, and it's like, yeah, and to me it's like, okay, it's cool, it's whatever. I mean, well, it's not cool, it's not whatever, but I just look at that like, yo, okay, like this is what it is. We didn't work out for whatever reason, but it doesn't mean that we can't be civil, you know? Because she inadvertently told me without telling me that like, because we train at the same gym, and but the problem with the gym that I train at is like it's open air gym, so when in the summertime it gets brutally hot, and and she was telling me like, oh yeah, you know, well, like she was telling me, oh yeah, you know, well, I haven't trained there because it's so hot, this and this and that, and then and I go, what is that all you? Is that all you're avoiding? Is it heat? Because it's like, you know, there's no point in having a gym membership if if you don't go simply because it's hot, which is bullshit. Uh, and then she's like, well, no, she's like, no, like the real reason is that I'm trying to avoid you. I'm like, why are you trying to do that? And then she told me, and I said like, hey, look, just because we're not together doesn't mean that we can't be, that we can't share the same space. And then like she's constantly thinking of others too, right? And I said, look, and I was like, and then she's like, well, I don't want to make it awkward for you, so I just don't go. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be awkward, you know. It doesn't have to be, anything like that because we don't have to make it that way. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, we don't have to make it awkward, you know. Just because like we're no longer together doesn't mean that we can't run into each other, you know. You know? And it doesn't mean that I don't want to, it doesn't mean that if I do see you, I'm gonna act weird, you know, because I'm not, because in the very beginning, like when I ran into her the first couple times, I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. And because, the feelings are still fresh, everything just ended. So it's like, you're dealing with all that. You're dealing with everything that comes with that. And it's like, okay, yeah. Um, it's just interesting, man, because it's like you don't expect the feelings to always be there, but it's like the way she was looking at me, the way she was talking, is like, I could tell it was like, yeah, it's deeper than what than what we wanted to be at, because like I said, the feelings are still there. It's like one of her kids, um, she seen an old video of me working out, and she goes, "Oh, is that Uncle Mikey?" You know, and it's like, but that's just the type of dude that I am. Like I try to leave a positive impact on people, and I was like, even if you don't work out, it's like I still want you to be the best version of yourself. Not just for the next person or whatever it is, but for you. Like, and the whole reason I called her yesterday is because it's like, oh, let me backtrack, right? So I called her, and so she didn't pick up. This is like 5 o'clock in the evening, and so I'm leaving to go to my friend's thing, my friend's after party after the wedding. So and so she's texting me, and she's like, "Hey, everything okay?" It's like, "Yeah, everything's fine." Like, why do you think? Why would you think something is wrong? And she's like, "Oh, because I don't expect you to call." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "No, nothing. Like nothing's wrong." And so, and so, and then she said something, and then I liked the message, and then she followed that up with, like, "Oh, well, so what's the real reason you called me? Because you don't call out the blue friend, like that's not you." And like I said, she knows me, so I was like, she knows I'm intentional, and I told her like, "Hey, I said I'm out with a few friends right now. I'll give you a call later on," and I did. So I'm driving home, and and I'm talking to her, and I could tell she was anxious, you know, and it was more like not like she was upset because she wasn't upset. It was more like, okay, like let me go figure this thing out. So I was on the phone with her for like 5, 6, 7 minutes. I'm like, yo, okay, like let me give you a call back because I had to go collect my thoughts. So I FaceTimed her back when I got back to the crib, and she was like, okay, like she's like X, Y, and Z. So she's cracking jokes, she's doing X, all that stuff, and then like she's like, well, like how you drive, it takes you 15 minutes to get anywhere. And I'm like, I don't drive that fast, but okay. She's like, uh-huh. So so yeah, and that's my thing too. Is like I think when you step away from a situation and you actually visualize it for what it is or for what it was, you don't. There's nothing. There's nothing that you do with that situation where it's like, is it bad? No, it wasn't bad. Was it timing impeccable? Was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect. Were the people in it perfect? No, we weren't perfect. You know, but at the end of the day, it's about giving people their flowers and understanding that it's okay that things didn't work out. And it doesn't. And I told her last night. It's like sometimes shit's not a period; it's a comma. And she looked at me. She's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." Like sometimes it's like it's either a comma or a semicolon. I mean, it's like so And she looked at me. She's like, and because I'm speaking in like how do I explain this? In ways that she's able to pick it up because to quote her, I drop Easter eggs, that point directly to the problem, but I never hit the nail on the head, you know. And the question I wanted to ask her last night, but I didn't want to, open up the can of worms. It's just like, yo, like, did you ever love me? And my thing is like, it'd be idiotic for me to ask that question because obviously she did, bro. You know, we don't go through what we go through in that situation if the love wasn't there, you know, and and she doesn't reciprocate that if the love isn't there, you know. So sometimes when you ask certain questions, you got to realize it's like, am I asking certain questions because I feel a certain way, or am I asking certain questions because I think that's the right move to do? And sometimes you don't have to ask questions, bro. You just have to look at the body language. You have to look at how people move X, Y, and Z, and it's like it's not that. It's just like you treat people accordingly, and hopefully those people treat you accordingly. And I think that's the most important thing. Where like instead of people getting caught up in certain things and like getting their emotions involved, and it's like yo, like be intentional with that shit. Don't waste somebody's time. Don't have your time wasted. Don't sit there and think like, oh yeah, it's X, Y, and Z when it's really not. It's you know. And I told her 2 plus 2 is always gonna be 4. 1 plus 1, me and you together, is perfect. And somehow throughout the conversation, like, I she told me something. She goes, you had a break from me for 6 months, and you still at it. I mean, it's like I can't help it. Key thing is I don't want to help it. You know, because you ever meet somebody who makes you want to be better. You know, and granted, I'm not talking about no fling or whatever it is, because it's like I've got the numbers where the girls they block me for whatever reason, and that's fine. It's like I don't give a fuck. I'm like I'm never gonna see you again anyway. And I mean, it's like niggas ain't even smash. So at the end of the day, it's that. But when you're dealing with somebody who just wants to make you better, you know, who just wants to help you get better, you just have to, like you have to just like you have to be understanding that too, and you have to be willing to be like, okay, like I'm fucked up now, you know, but one of these days I'm not gonna be fucked up. And you know what? When that happens, okay, cool. And I think that's the most important thing where people just they have to realize that it's okay. You know, it's you know, not everything's meant to last forever. You know, we're not even here forever. You know, and I think that's always interesting too because I remember telling my ex like in the very beginning, and I brought up some key things too. I was like, yo, I want this forever. And she was like, wait, what? I was like, yeah. I was like, forever, however long forever is. So my thing with this is be intentional with what you're doing. Don't waste people's time. And if you don't want the same thing, tell me that. Or tell the person that. Or whatever it is. It's like call them up, have the conversation over the phone or have it in person, whatever it is. Don't run from shit. And be better than what you currently are. Just because you was in a fucked up situation doesn't mean you gotta stay fucked up. And I think that's why a lot of people they falter at because they're like, oh well, it's they used to do this, they used to do that. It's like somewhere along the lines you two stopped dating each other. Somewhere along the lines the communication fizzled out. And you know what? That's fine. But don't sit there and pretend that everything's everything when it's not. Alright, y'all, this is about 32 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keeping the 4-piece, private player, positive pushing. I'll see y'all next week. Love y'all. Like I always say, know your worth because you're better than what you are. Peace.